Hey, friends. Carl Withers. Mr. Weathers passed away recently, and I got to thinking how much we'd all miss the guy. It was always nice to see him show up in a show or a picture, but sadly, Apollo Creed has left the ring. Rocky, Predator, Magnum Force, Close Encounters, Death Hunt, and TV shows ranging from Canon to In the Heat of the Night. We last saw him in my review of The Bermuda Depths. He appeared in a surprising number of projects, and not all of them were very good, but he always was. So I thought I might review one of his films for you. This time, we're looking at one of his better-known starring vehicles, namely Action Jackson from 1988. Our story goes like this. In Detroit, where they make cars, or used to, executives and leadership of an auto workers union are getting killed off by a team of assassin dudes. Are they ninjas or what? No one knows. But dudes are dying. The cops are on the case, but it's only our hero, Jerichio Action Jackson, who sees a connection. Unfortunately, Jackson is not able to work the case on account of he lost his lieutenant's stripes and got busted for coming down too hard on a rich guy's kid. The kid deserved it, but still. So Jackson has spent the last 2 years doing menial work as a police sergeant, and he's no longer allowed to carry a gun. His ex-partner, who's kind of a jerk, is handling the case now, and Jackson's boss isn't having any of Jackson's loose cannon routine, so he's lost his stripes, his gun, his wife, and his job is kind of hanging on by a thread. But things are about to change, since his boss assigns Jackson to show the flag for the department at an award ceremony. The honoree, the rich dad of the kid he put behind bars. This guy is the villain of the piece, Peter Delaplane. He makes cars, his newest being called the Halley after the comet. His hot, smokin' trophy wife is a sexy chick who verbally duels a bit with Jackson, and then Jackson and the baddie butt heads a bit. Later, one of Jackson's friends calls him for help. He's terrified the baddies are out to get him and gives Jackson some secret info. When the guy is murdered, of course, Jackson starts working the case and decides to take down the baddie for good. Delaplane's wife overhears some crime talk and is now a target of the gang, as is a sexy singer Delaplane has been having makeouts with. With the singer in tow, Jackson goes into action and starts taking down Bad Guy Incorporated. As a result, he winds up on the run from the police as well as the baddies. Will Delaplane pay for his crimes? Will Jackson save the day and solve the case? And will Action Jackson get some action? In our cast, aside from Carl Weathers, we have Craig T. Nelson as the bad guy, Peter Delaplane. I thought he made a really good villain in this. His motivations are a little broad and murky, but he really plays the baddie well. Vanity is also here as a singer, of course, and a drug addict under the thumb of Delaplane. She earned a Golden Razzie nomination for her performance here, but I've seen worse, like the acting in any given episode of Star Trek Discovery. She's a good match with Weathers, and they have a fair bit of chemistry. Sharon Stone is also in this, albeit briefly, as Delaplane's wife. She doesn't have too much to do, sadly, but she does give us a glimpse of the goods in the shower. Vanity's also showing it off in one scene, so this movie's a winner, if you ask me. Bill Duke plays Jackson's boss, a pretty standard role in these kind of movies, the hard-ass boss who comes down on the hero's loose cannon style. He was also in Predator and Commando, as well as X-Men: The Last Stand. Jack Tebow is Jackson's former partner and wannabe stumbling block for our hero. He was in Escape from Alcatraz, Lethal Weapon, and much more, usually playing a tough guy or a criminal type. Robert Davi plays the frightened friend of Jackson's, a very familiar face. Davi was in Die Hard, The Goonies, and the TV series Profiler, and much, much more. Like Jack Tebow, you'd find him usually playing a bad guy, as he did in the James Bond film License to Kill. Tom Wilson is here as one of the comedic cops. You might know him best as Biff Tannen from the Back to the Future films. And finally, perennial henchman Al Leong is here to round things out. This movie was meant to be the opening salvo in a new action franchise starring Weathers as Jackson. Unfortunately, that never came to pass. There are 2 movies that had Carl Weathers in them that were shadily marketed as Action Jackson 2, Dangerous Passion in 1990 and Hurricane Smith in 1992, but neither bear any relation or connection to this film aside from starring Weathers. While working on Predator, Carl Weathers originated this story with Joel Silver. Now, this movie wants to be a comedy, really, but a serious, dramatic comedy. It wants to exist in the rarefied atmosphere of Beverly Hills Cop or Lethal Weapon, and it almost makes it happen. There is some fun humor throughout Action Jackson. There are a few running gags and some fun quips and that kind of thing. There are some good stunts and pretty intense pyro in a couple of scenes, and the movie looks good. Very, very 80s, with the choice of grainy film stock and cinematography and all of that. Credit producer Joel Silver. Vanity and the Pointer Sisters contribute to the soundtrack as well. Action Jackson struck me as a quintessential product of the 1980s. A fun summer action film with a loose cannon cop fighting a powerful bad guy. It's a hoot, and audiences seem to agree since the movie was a minor hit, despite getting mixed reviews. And it's true, it's one of those 80s action movies that may not always make sense, but it's a fun ride anyway. Despite its flaws, man, I sure wish we had more movies like Action Jackson today, and I wish Carl Weathers was still around to appear in one. I'm giving Action Jackson 2.5 paws up. It's a fun slice of 80s action, and well worth a watch if you're in the mood for an action cop movie from the Dayglow era. Hey, you take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.